Hi, my name is Monet, and I am so glad that you decided to join me. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are returning, welcome back. In honor of spooky season, we have an ongoing series where we post every day for 30 days, not only to get my YouTube page back on track, because as you can see, my last video was posted, I want to say 3 months ago, besides the series, because we are on day, 7 or 6, I want to say. I lost count. I told you I'll record the 7 videos on a Sunday. It's still that same Sunday at 1 o'clock in the morning. So I'm a bit delirious. So I don't really quite remember what video I'm on, but I'm pretty sure I'll put it in the description. Um, Today we are in a no sleep subreddit today. What that means, I have no idea because as y'all know, I do not read these stories before I sit down and record them. So me and you will be listening slash reading this story for the very first time. It looks like a doozy. There's a part 1 and a part 2. So today we will be reading part 1 and tomorrow we will be reading part 2. Don't worry. I did a sit down Reddit story and there was a part 2, and I had some messages that was telling me that they wanted to hear part 2, and I lost it. But I saved both parts this time. I have a little bit more experience. I'm done rambling. And I just wanted to say thank you for coming along on this journey with me. I hope you're enjoying these videos. Okay, for real, I'm done rambling. Grab a blanket, grab a drink, some tea, a snack, and get cozy with me. And I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it, shall we? This story is called I'm a Private Investigator in New Orleans. I discovered a secret in my own family that made me decide to quit. Part 1. There's a subtitle under it that says Family Reunion. The atmosphere in the car is thick, with unsaid words. The streets of New Orleans roll past, the warm glow of the midday sun punctuating the colonial architecture and lively marketplaces. It's a wild day in late January, the kind that makes you believe spring is just around the corner even when it's months away. As a private eye, I welcome a day off like this. No cases, no mysteries, just a simple drive to my parents' house for a tiet. But as every investigator knows, there's no such thing as a simple drive. The text I received earlier in the day still looms over me. We need to talk. That's all the message says. No follow-up text, no response to my request for elaboration. Nothing good ever starts with those 4 words. Sitting next to me, Renee, my wife and crime-solving partner, nervously checks herself in the sun visor mirror for what seems like the 100th time. Her brunette locks cascade down her back in the soft waves, contrasting with her porcelain skin. Her gray eyes, deep and enigmatic, darted from the mirror to the scenery outside and back again. Her red lips purse in anxiety. After a decade of marriage, you'd think she'd become accustomed to these visits. Yet she looks more terrified now than she did facing the beast of the bayou last summer. Can you give it a rest? You look fine, I snapped, more harshly than I intended to. Renee's eyes lock onto mine, a tempest in her gaze. Excuse me? I mean, you look amazing, Renee, I say sheepishly, softening my tone. Renee pulls at her dress, her eyes returning to her reflection. Do I look fat in this? Trying to lighten the mood, I quipped, if you were any thinner, you'd be invisible. Renee's eyes narrow. She doesn't look pleased. I immediately regret my attempt at humor. I just want to make a good impression, she murmurs. I glance over at her and my grip tightening on the steering wheel. Renee, they've seen you 100 times. If you haven't made an impression by now, maybe you never will. She shoots me a glare. You know it's not that simple. It's just, they look at me and I still feel like an outsider. You know how much I want them to like me. They do like you. They love you, I reply. Besides, it's just dinner. She stiffened. It's not just dinner to me, Ash. It never has been. You know it, and you know it. Letting out a deep sigh, I can't contain my frustration. Why does everything have to be a drama with you? Her eyes flash with anger. You're blaming me just because I care about how I'm perceived. That's not the point. This excessive self-consciousness is becoming a problem. I glance at her, regretting my words even before they land. Renee's eyes turn glassy, a mixture of hurt and anger. Excessive self-consciousness? Really, Ash? Maybe if you'd been a bit more self-conscious during the recent case, things wouldn't have turned out differently. I raise an eyebrow, struggling to keep my voice level. You're bringing up the Daniels case? That's what this is about? Her nostrils flare, her frustration evident. You know it's not just about the case. But since we're on the topic, maybe if you weren't so self-absorbed in your methods, you'd have seen the signs. I scoffed. What signs? That I was following my instincts as I always do? Exactly, Renee exclaimed, pointing a finger at me. Your instincts. Not once did you think about your actions could affect others. Like when you decided to break into Daniel's office without backup, I snort. This is rich coming from you, all people, Renee, I say tersely. Between the two of us, you've always been the reckless one. Remember the stunt you pulled last year on the Montgomery case? You almost got us both killed. Renee's voice lowers, her anger dissolving into vulnerability. Ash, I'm just saying, maybe we both need to think about consequences, about the future, about... As the SUV pulls up to a quaint apartment complex, the vibrant figure of our Secretary Amber appears at the door. Her eyes widen slightly at the sight of the vehicle, and she hurriedly makes her way carrying a carefully wrapped dish. I can see something deeper in Renee's eyes, a tremble in her voice, something she's hesitating to say. But my own frustration blinds me to her subtle attempt to change the conversation's direction. The apartment complex looms larger as we pull into the parking lot, and the sight of Amber hurrying towards us directs me further. Can we please talk about this later? I beg her, not wanting to cause a scene. Her mouth tightens, and she gives me a small, reluctant nod. Looking down at her lap, fine, she whispers, the unspoken words hanging heavy in the air between us. Hey y'all, she greets cheeringly as she gets in, unaware of the stormy atmosphere in the front. Thanks again for inviting me, I'm so excited. As she settles into the seat, she can't help but notice the icy silence. Everything okay? She asks, her voice hesitant. Renee and I trip over each other's response. Everything's fine, I say. Absolutely, Renee adds, her tone just a tad too sweet. Amber raises an eyebrow but decides not to push further. So, she begins, trying to change the subject. Tiet is like Vietnamese Thanksgiving, right? Because I bought a casserole. Renee laughs softly. Not exactly, Cherie. It's more like New Year's. It's a time for family and to celebrate fresh starts. Seeing an opportunity to lighten the mood, I chime in with a smirk. You know, our previous secretary made the same mistake. Brought a turkey and everything. You never saw her again after that Tiet dinner. What's her name? Gail? It's still our most mysterious cold case. Amber's face pales, but before she can react, Renee rolls her eyes and playfully swats at me. Don't listen to him, he's just messing with you. Gail moved to California to be closer to her grandkids. I could see the relief wash over Amber's face. Renee smiles at her. If it puts your mind at ease, I made a traditional Cajun Mardi Gras dish. Chicken and sausage gumbo. It's a bit spicy, but I think everyone will love it. Amber's eyes light up. That sounds amazing. Renee grins, then turns her attention back to me. Ash, did you remember to bring the... we'll pause real quick. I don't want to be like disrespectful and like pronounce this wrong, so I'm just gonna skip over it. For Theo and Maya. Amber looked confused and chimes in. Still don't know what that means. What's that? Renee explains. It's a Tiet tradition. Elders give red envelopes with money inside to younger family members. It's meant to bring luck and posterity into the good year. The new year. Renee nods, understanding. Oh, so like a New Year present. Renee nods, then eyes me with a pointed look. So Ash, did you put in $50 for each of them? I sigh, rubbing my temples. Yes, I did. She gives me an approving smile. Great. I just want to be a good aunt, you know. They're growing up so fast. Amber catches onto the tension, and with a puzzled expression, she looks from me to Renee. $50 seems generous, I mumble. I wanted to give them $20 each, but some people believe in spoiling them. Renee and I lock eyes. For a moment, all the heated words and unspoken issues between us hang in the air. But as Amber looks between us, curiously, we reach a silent truce. For her sake and for the sake of the day, we let it all slide into the background. Rather than dredging up further drama, Renee and I spent the rest of the ride giving Amber a crash course in Vietnamese language and culture. The entrance to my parents' house always brings a rush of nostalgia. The familiar scent of jasmine and the faded walls painted in a pale blue hue transport me back to a simpler time. Renee and I exchange a quick glance. Our previous argument momentarily shelved. For the next few hours, we are a happy couple. In my line of work, you get really good at pretending. Stepping out of the car, the sounds of laughter and the faint murmur of voices reach our ears. It seems the entire extended family has already gathered. I straighten my jacket while Renee adjusts her dress, making sure everything is in place. As we near the entrance, the door swings open to reveal my mother, a small, plump woman with graying hair pulled back in a tight bun. Her face lights up with a bright smile as she sees us. "Ah, Asher, Renee, you came," she exclaims. Her Vietnamese accent shades her English. My father, a tall, grizzled man with hands roughened from years in the fishing industry on the Gulf, appears behind her, a wild smile on his face. "Ciao, Mung. Welcome." He blooms, pulling me into a bear hug. This is written in Vietnamese, but it also has a translation, so I'm going to read the translations as I'm not being disrespectful. "It's good seeing you, Mom and Dad." I say the words wrapped over my tongue as comfortably as a well-worn coat. Renee steps forward with a shy smile. "Happy New Year, Mom and Dad," she says, her accent thick, but her effort brings a broad smile to my mother's face. My mother says warmly, "Very good. Happy New Year, dear." Dad comments, "Better every year. Soon we won't know you're not Vietnamese." My mom's face tightens. A glare flashed at him as his potentially insensitive remark. Renee lets out a light, good-natured laugh, brushing off the comment with grace. "One day, perhaps. Until then, I'll keep practicing." Mom reaches up to embrace Renee warmly. She then pulls back to inspect her, eyes full of warmth. "You look beautiful, Con," she says, using the Vietnamese word for daughter as though to reassure her of her place in the family. "Oh, this is Amber, by the way, our secretary at the agency." I introduce Amber, breaking back into English. She waves shyly. A small ciao, hello, escaping her lips. While Amber distracts my parents, I slip into the living room. I scan the room. The familiar hum of the conversation and the warm amber light embrace me. Older relatives sit on one side, their conversation a flowing river of lyrical Vietnamese. Their laughter, accompanying a game of Tien Lin, merges with the gentle click of teacups. On the other side, my younger cousins chatter excitedly in English, their eyes glued to a smartphone as they share the latest online sensation. My gaze drifts to the walls adorned with family photographs, moments of joy and milestones frozen in time, intersped with stern portraits of me as a Marine. I'm drawn to the corner of the living room where my family altar stands. The soft glow of candles illuminates photographs of ancestors, their face forever frozen in time. My eyes rest on the picture of my grandma, Kim, the woman who helped raise me. I take a joss stick, igniting it from the altar's candle. The fragrant smoke slowly curls upward, filling the air with a comforting woody aroma. It mingles seamlessly with the savory scent of my mom's cooking wafting from the kitchen. Bowing slightly, I say a silent prayer, thanking my grandma for her love and guidance. Continuing my search, I catch sight of my younger sister, Kyra, in the adjoining room. She's chasing after her two young children, a look of frantic merriment on her face. But amidst the giggles and playful shrieks of children, I notice the strain in her eyes, a shadow of sadness and uncertainty that she's doing her best to hide. The absence of her husband hangs in the air like a heavy, unspoken word. It's her first yet since their separation, and the pain is still fresh, a wound yet to heal. Navigating my way towards Kyra feels like threading through a determined defense of the football field. I sidestep Aunt May's eager questions and slide past Uncle Bao's boisterous stories, finally reaching Kyra. Kyra's eyes meet mine, and for a moment the mask falls, revealing the raw vulnerability beneath. She gives me a wary but sincere smile. "Hey, Aunt Ash," she says. looking almost surprised to see me. She hugs me, clinging to just a moment longer than usual, as if drawing strength from our bond. She then turns to Renee, offering a genuine smile and a hug. Good seeing you, Renee. It's great to see you too, Em, I say. Her kids, Theo and Maya, 7 and 5 years old, notice us, their faces lighting up with youthful excitement. Uncle Ash and Aunt Renee, they exclaim, abandoning their game to rush towards us, their small feet pattering against the wooden floor. Renee bends down to the kids' level, feigning shock as she holds her hands out to measure their heights. You two are getting so tall, soon you'll be taller than me, she exclaims with playful exaggeration. Theo giggles, puffing out his little chest with pride, while Maya, ever the dramatic one, stands up on her tippy toes and stretches her arms skyward. Look, Renee, I'm already so tall. Kyra chuckles, ruffling Maya's hair. At this rate, she might just surpass all of us. The kids jump onto me with squeals of delight, wrapping their little arms around me tightly. The joy in their eyes is infectious, and for a moment, the weight of the day's events melt away. Uncle Ash, Theo exclaims, his eyes twinkling with mischief. Tell us a detective story. We want to be like you and Aunt Renee when we grow up. Maya echoing her brother's enthusiasm. I look over at Renee, who smirks a glint of amusement in her eyes. We agreed a long time ago that the real stories from our line of work aren't suitable for little ears, but it's Tiet, and I don't want to let the kids down. All right, I start. This is the story of a brave detective Theo and his brilliant younger sister, Detective Maya. Theo beams with pride while Maya snuggles closer, her eyes wide with anticipation. When the story begins, I say, settling down on the living room floor with the kids, clambering down around me. Theo and Maya found themselves in the heart of a big, bustling city. The city was lively, filled with music and colors, but it held a big secret. Theo's eyes are wide, and he whispers to Maya, "That's like New Orleans." Maya nods eagerly, her eyes never leaving my face. Yes, but you see, I continue, there's a naughty bunch in town, making trouble for local shop owners like Miss Delgado, the nice baker, and Mrs. King, the sweet florist. They're taking their money and making them very sad. Like bullies, Maya interjects with a frown. Exactly like bullies, Maya, Renee affirms with a gentle smile. But our private eyes knew that they should always stand up to bullies. Theo whispers something into Maya's ear and she giggles, covering her mouth with her hand. Renee takes over, her eyes dancing with mischief. Now the leader of these bullies was called the Vipers. And just like his name, he was slippery and dangerous. Maya's eyes widen with a mix of fear and excitement. That's a scary name, she whispers. Yes, it is. I agree, nodding gravely. But our duo is never afraid. They're brave, like lions. Renee continues, with the help of some friendly cats in the city, our detectives discovered that the Viper had a hideout. It was a secret place where they planned all their naughty schemes, like a pirate ship, Theo suggests. Maya nods enthusiastically. Or a spooky castle? I chuckle. More like an old abandoned warehouse, but your ideas are way cooler. Renee nods. Inside the warehouse, Thea and Maya found all sorts of evidence that the bullies had been up to no good. The two detectives, using their clever skills, gathered all the evidence and took it straight to the police, I add. The police were very impressed with their work and soon arrested the bullies, making sure they couldn't bother Mr. Delgado, Mrs. King, or any other shopkeepers again. Maya claps her hands in delight. Yay for Detective Theo and Detective Maya. And do you know what happened next? The shopkeepers were so grateful to the brave detectives that they threw a big party in their honor. They even gave them a special reward. Renee winks at me, her face bright with enthusiasm and amusement, the tension from before seeming to melt. I pull out 2 small red envelopes from my pocket. Here's your reward, brave detectives, I say, handing 1 envelope to each child. Theo and Maya hop from foot to foot in excitement, their young energy palpable. Kyra gives them a stern but affectionate look. Now what do you say when someone gives you a gift? The pair pause, glancing at each other as if to confirm their response. In unison, they bend at the waist, performing a small bow. This is also in Vietnamese, so I have no idea what it's saying, and I don't want to be disrespectful. I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna have to skip it. Their chorus, their Vietnamese, impeccable. It's a clear sign of Kira's efforts to instill in them a connection to their roots. You're very welcome, Mia Morse. Renee responds. The children's laughter fills the air as they dart away, the envelopes clutched tightly in their hands, eager to share their treasures with their cousins. Kyra watches them go, a tender smile playing on her lips as the sound of their laughter fades into the background hum of conversations and clicking dishware. Her expression changes, the fatigue and melancholy creeping back into her eyes. She leans against the doorway, arms crossed loosely over her chest. You and Renee, really good with them. Kira murmurs, her voice soft. I offer a modest shrug, feeling the warmth of her words. They're great kids, Em. If she only knew, the tale I'd spun for the kids was a sanitized version of the gritty reality. There really was a protection racket. The Viper was no fictional bully, but Vincent, the Viper, Marcello, a feared mafia capo. Renee and I had infiltrated his compound, swiping a hard drive teeming with evidence of his dirty dealings, including evidence linking him to at least 3 murders. I also deliberately left out the grisly part of the story where we abducted one of Marcello's thugs and pistol whipped him with the gun he'd used to threaten the shopkeepers until he gave away his boss's hideout. I gently touched her arm. So how are you holding up? I asked in a soft voice, leaning closer so as to keep the conversation private amidst a bustling of the celebration. She offers a small, tight-lipped smile, a reflexive gesture that doesn't reach her eyes. Oh, you know, I'm doing. Her voice trails off, her gaze drifting to where her kids had disappeared. I'm managing. Do you want to talk about it? I asked gently. Not right now, she replies, her voice a whisper sigh. Whew. Now, as you can see, this is what, the 7th video of the week, and this is still the same night. I'm a little bit tired and I'm really stuttery and fumbling over my words. I do apologize for that, but I hope y'all enjoyed the first part. Now, this is not the complete full part of part 1. There is more to it, but this was already a really long video and we aren't to the nitty-gritty juicy parts yet. So I hope you join me tomorrow to get to that. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got cozy. I hope it was at least entertaining a little bit. And I would love to see you here tomorrow, and I hope you would join me. Same time tomorrow, 1:30. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Thank you for chilling with me. I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Bye.